Thank you po.
Thank you po. I have the greatest respect for Secretary Amena Pangandaman. I have worked very closely with her. I have always seen her as the best economist I've worked with. Of course, aside from Sec RC, because I also love Sec RC. I have the highest respect for her, not only for Secretary Pangandaman, but for all of the officials in DBM. Sa totoo lang po, para po sa kalaman ng lahat, ito pong usapin tungkol sa unprogrammed appropriations, lalo na po nung naging mainit na usapin po ito sa social media at sa iba pa, talaga pong nag-uusap kami na paano ba natin pwedeng ayusin itong unprogrammed appropriations, paano po natin masisigurado na hindi ito maaabuso sa taong 2026. And honestly, when we were doing all of those discussions, and even during the plenary deliberations, when members of the minority would have specific suggestions, particularly towards lump sum funds, UA, even in terms of the general provisions, makikita ko po and I say this with the utmost sincerity, kitang-kita ko po sa parte ng DBM na pag may na-recognize sila na point, na uy, okay yan tama yan. Sila pa yung unang magsasabi na, sige, Chair Mika, go, okay kami dyan sa amendment na yan. Isa pong halimbawa, yung sa GIP, yung nung ilang beses po na bring up yon sa deliberation, sila pa yung una nagsabi na, Chair, okay kami dyan. Kung tatanggalin talaga yung infrastructure mula sa GIP, sige, okay kami. Sila pa nga po yung nag-draft nung version ng special provision patungkol doon. So, I understand that there are instances or things that have transpired that may have called into question the safeguards, the evaluation, the assessment processes and guidelines within the DBM. But I really see the sincerity in the good men and women of DBM to continually improve their processes. Ang dami din po nila na ina-advocate ng mga transparency measures, yung open budget, yung Project Dime, they have a lot of transparency measures as well. So, even with the recognition that there might have been instances in the past wherein certain guidelines would need to be reinforced or amended, nakikita ko po yung sinseridad sa ating mga kasama sa DBM na talagang gusto talaga nilang ayusin yung proseso.
So, ibig sabihin man parang naayos na rin nila yung instances na yun kasi may binabanggit na parang may huge sums of money raw po na nag-disappear from the DPWH appropriations. Yun po yung ipinunto ng minority of lawmaker, in particular si Congressman Erice po. Tapos ang binabanggit din po kasi niya parang may may influence daw from powerful legislators daw po kasi kaya parang siguro na-influensyahan daw po yung DBM.
I would be very happy to discuss with Senior Deputy Minority Leader Erice with regard to that. I would be keen to know ano po yung particular na ehemplo na kanyang iniisip doon sa nawawalang pondo mula sa DPWH. Alam ko po ang isa sa mga natalakay yung malaki na nabatak mula sa dating sagip na flood control projects. But I would be very keen to know. Medyo mahirap po kasing sagutin nang hindi ko po alam yung particular na programa na tinutukoy po ni SDML Erice. But I'd be very happy to discuss with him po. Okay. Again, in 2026, I would be very adamant na kung ano man po yung mga nakaligtaan na mga guidelines o safeguards sa nakaraan, aayusin po natin yon. Paiigtingin po natin yon para sa 2026 para masigurado po na hindi maaabuso yung pondo para sa susunod na taon.
Super last na lang po. So, Secretary Pangandaman should stay?
For me po, yes. I see the hard work that she puts in, her integrity, and her love for her work. So, yes, I firmly believe that Secretary Amena Pangandaman should stay. Thank you po.
We're down to the last 3 questions. The first comes from Rosalie Cos of UNTV.
Hi Kong, good afternoon po.
Hi, Ma'am
Binawasan po yung pondo ng Office of the Vice President for 2026. Anong mangyayari po sa binawas na pondo? Saan po yun mapupunta?
Opo, yung kabuuan po ng na kaltas sa Office of the Vice President ay inilipat po sa MAIFIP. So, 156 million po yun sa kabuuan. Kasi po, yung ilan po sa mga particular na programa na atin pong kinaltasan, kung naaalala nyo po, tinitignan po natin yung financial assistance and subsidy. Kasi po, ang ating pong napag-usapan ay dapat po nasa ahensya po yun. Nasa ahensya. The budget for financial assistance and should be lodged in the different agencies like DSWD, DOH, or DOLE. So, yun po yung ginawa natin. Binatak po natin yun at lahat po yun napunta po sa MAIFIP. Pero tulad po nung kondisyon na akin pong ibinigay, nung atin pong inaprubahan yung motion ni Congresswoman De Lima na ibalik po yung level ng Office of the Vice President sa level ng 2025, may dalawa po akong kondisyon na inilatag doon. Una, kailangan po maprotektahan yung interes ng mga personnel sa loob po ng Office of the Vice President. So, malaki po kasing parte noong increase sa OVP budget na pinanukala ng DBM ay patungkol po sa salary standardization law, yung pagtaas po ng kanilang sahod. So, yun po, prinotektahan po natin yon. So, yung increase na pinanukala ng DBM para sa sahod ng mga OVP employees, retain po natin yon sa third reading version ng GAB. Pangalawa po, na kondisyon ko na kailangan po kung makakaltasan man ang OVP, kailangan po yung pondo na matitira sa Office of the Vice President ay sapat para maipagpatuloy nila na magampanan ang mandato ng opisina. And with that po, even with the reduction, tumaas pa rin po yung kanilang supplies expense, tumaas pa rin po yung kanilang rent expense, yung operational expenses nila, tumaas pa rin po. So even if the overall total was reduced by 150 million pesos to return the level to the 2025 levels, tumaas pa din po yung iba-ibang mga components ng budget ng Office of the Vice President.
The next question comes from...
Sorry po, may follow-up lang po ako. Opo, two more, sorry. Ano po palang stand nyo po as APRO Chair sa calls to make public yung congressional proponents sa mga DPWH projects? We understand sa HGAB, nakalagay naman po yun yung congressional district, magkano yung allocation sa DPWH projects, pero walang particular kung sino yung proponent. Si Congressman Chanco po, nanawagan din na kahit yung pong mga party list proponent, i-publicized yung pong proponents, party list proponents sa DPWH projects. Ano pong stand nyo?
Actually po, sinusubukan ko po sigurong intindihin ano po yung proponent na tinutukoy. Kasi po kung makikita nyo po yung budget ng DPWH ngayon, lahat po yun ay nagmumula sa kanya-kanyang mga district engineering offices ng iba't ibang mga probinsya. So yun po, actually kung titignan nyo ang proponent nun, ang lalabas po nun, ang proponent nun ay ang district engineering office. So, yun po siguro yung aking katanungan doon na ano pong proponent yung tinutukoy nila, ano po yung hinahanap nila. Kasi dalawa lang naman po yung pwedeng, at tatlo po, yung pwedeng pagmulan ng isang proyekto na napapaloob sa NEP. Una po, nag-emanate siya from the District Engineering Office. Second, pwede pong galing sa regional office ng DPWH. O pangatlo, especially with regard to flagship programs, sa central office po siya ng DPWH nagbumula. So siguro yun po yung level na pwedeng maipakita ng DPWH in terms of the proponents for different projects. Either nag-emanate siya from the district engineer office, from the regional office, or the central office.
Okay. Last na lang po, sorry. Bukod po dun sa efforts to open the BICAM to public, ano po ang stand niyo po as House APRO Chair dun po sa expanding the minority representations po ng House sa BICAM?
Actually po, that's something that I am still taking a look at. Tinitignan po natin if there is a legal requirement in terms of the composition of the bicameral conference committee conferees. So pwede po naman nating tignan yan. Again, I recognize the very valuable inputs of the minority. As you can see po sa Budget Amendments Review Subcommittee, mismong si Minority Leader Marcelino Libanan ay parte ng BARC. At bukod sa kanya, meron pang dalawa, si Kong Alan T. at si Kong Stephen James Tan na parte po ng BARC. So I really recognize the invaluable inputs of the minority. So we can take a look at that po. Definitely happy to explore that. Thank you po.
Next, Dwight of Rappler.
Hello po, Congresswoman. Good
Hi,
morning.
Dwight.
Ma'am, clarify ko lang kanina dun sa explanation nyo sa unprogrammed appropriations. Yung 35 billion pesos, it was removed from SAGIP, but na-retain pa rin kasi yung amount na yon sa buong unprogrammed appropriations. Ano ba yung direct impact nun sa paglilipat to the government of the Philippines counterpart of foreign assisted projects? Kasi kanina sa pagkakasabi nyo, parang yung government counterpart, it was originally in SAGIP. Like, can we say ba that because naging new line item siya, hindi na siya magagamit to local flood control projects? Ano ba yung may safeguards bang na-introduce by making a new line item out of it? Kasi baka isipin ng mga tao na ay parang ginawa nandun pa rin yung pera, ginawa niyo lang ng new line item.
Thank you, Sir Dwight. That's something that I am really hoping to clarify. Ang dahilan po kung bakit binatak natin siya, kasi ang intention po talaga natin dun sa dating SAGIP ay tanggalin na yung infra mula doon. Kasi doon nga po nababatak yung flood control dati, kahit yung mga kalsada at mga tulay. So by taking out the FAPs from the first purpose, we are able to put in the safeguard there na definitively bawal na yung infrastructure projects dyan. So putting it out, putting the FAPs infrastructure out from the former SAGIP allows us to put in more stringent safeguards to ensure that it would no longer be abused. So, yun po. Kasi kung meron pang infra doon, hindi natin definitively matanggal yung infrastructure from the authorized purposes or authorized uses of purpose number 1, yung strengthening assistance to social programs. So, by taking it out, pwede nating lalong higpitan yung special purpose 1.
Ma'am, pero dito sa bagong line item, sorry, pardon my ignorance, ito ba pwede pa rin gamitin for flood control projects yun?
Let me check lang po sa kasalukuyan po kasi na tignan ko lang po yung breakdown ng kasi yung nakita ko po na mga malalaking proyekto ngayon doon, Metro Manila Rail, Metro Manila Subway, North-South Railway, sandali lang po, buksan ko lang po. May nakita din po kasi ako ng mga DSWD, diyan po buksan ko lang po. May detailed po ako na laman ng FAPs . I also want to be very specific with the answer, Sir Dwight. So let me just quickly pull this out. Ayun po. Yun po. Ang laman po nitong GOP ngayon. So the question po is whether there's a flood control project here. Karamihan po kasi dito, sa DAR, meron pong tulay. Sa DOH, may nutrition project, so hindi po siya infra. Sa DPWH, nandito po bridges, connector bridge, bypass, Central Mindanao Standard Highway, San Juanico Bridge is here. Meron pong integrated disaster risk reduction and climate adaptation in low-lying areas in Pampanga Bay, but I don't think that's flood control po. And then accelerated water and sanitation project in selected areas. So definitely within DPWH po, sa 35 billion po, or even the whole 133 billion, wala pong flood control projects ngayon doon, even under FAPs. DSWD, e-vouchers po for food insecurity at saka Philippine Community Resilience Project. Sa DOTR po, as mentioned, Metro Manila Subway Project, North-South Commuter Railway, MRT Line 3 Rehab, MRT Line 4 Project, PNR Railway, LRT, Mindanao Railway Project, acquisition of 40 units of fast patrol crafts, Maritime Safety Capability Improvement Project, Cebu Bus Rapid Transit, and EDSA Greenways Project. So even across the board, ngayon po sa 133 billion under FAPS, wala pong flood control projects doon.
Last two questions na lang po. Yung una po, technical question lang po. Yung breakdown po ba may kita sa HGAB? Kasi I checked the unprogrammed appropriation section, hindi ko makita yung breakdown. Or is it in bawat agency ba? As of...
Opo. Actually po, wala. For unprogrammed appropriations po, wala. Wala po sa yung breakdown. But there is one. I'll check lang po with the DBM if we can share it to all. Kasi the only reason lang po why there's some sensitivity around it, there are development partners po kasi who do not want to publicize particular projects unless the negotiation phase is already finalized or the contracts would be finalized. So I just need to check with the DBM in terms of the sensitivities po. We also do not want to endanger certain contract negotiations for ODA projects, but to the extent possible po, we can share that.
Okay, last question na lang on a different matter. Kasi yung ibang mga kongresista, naglalabas na po ng kanilang kopya ng SAL-Ender, 3 from Akbayan, 3 from Makabayan, 1 from the Visayas. Kayo po ba ay, do you commit to also releasing a copy of your SAL-N anytime soon?
Actually po, I believe Speaker Boji D has he released a statement saying that they would revisit the guidelines for releasing SAL-Ns for all House members. So kung ano po yung direction ng House leadership on that, I will comply po.
Next,
Okay po. Thank
last
you.
question comes from Miss Vivian Gulia.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. You did say that you are open to reducing the unprogrammed appropriations, proposed unprogrammed appropriations for 2026. Pero non-negotiable po ba sa inyo yung FAPS, na FAPS lang ang i-retain?
Kung titignan po kasi natin yung laman, bubuksan ko lang po ulit yung unprogrammed.
So, hindi kayo papayag kung FAPS lang ang gusto ng Senate?
Medyo delikado lang po kasi halimbawa po yung Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Program, that is something that we need to retain. Yung isa po, yung sa strengthening assistance for social programs, tulad po ng binanggit ko, there have been a lot of instances in the past. For example po, yung ngayon, dito po sa ilalim, yung unprogrammed appropriations na naka-standby sa loob po na AIX. May mga pagkakataon po kasi talaga na kailangan nating mabatak yon. Sa totoo lang po, ang takot ko po, kung i-wipe out natin lahat ng laman ng unprogrammed appropriations, halimbawa po, ito pong mga nakapaloob sa strengthening assistance for social programs. If there comes a time that there's sana naman po sa awa ng Diyos hindi mangyari, pero kung magkaroon po ng malaking kalamidad, kung magkaroon po ng kailangang national health emergency na kailangan pong respondihan, kung hindi po natin bibigyan ng legal basis for funding these items, hindi po tayo makakabatak. Siguro po, bukod po sa ngayong taon na nakabatak po tayo ng 5 bilyong piso para po tugunan at rumisponde po doon sa mga naapektuhan ng bagyo at lindol sa Masbate, sa Cebu at Davao. Several instances in the past. In terms of COVID, actually po, unprogrammed appropriations yung unang binatakan ng gobyerno para agad-agad na matulungan yung mga health emergency practitioners, yung mga frontliners natin, dun po bumatak sa unprogrammed appropriation. So there, I've had this conversation with the DBM as to what could happen if we take out all of the items under unprogrammed appropriations. And they were saying that